on location at Chantele's house. I am Aaron Lavender, one of your hosts, one of your fabulous hosts, I may say. You know what I'm saying? I'm here with Chantele. She only goes by one name, Chantele, just like Beyonce. So Chantele, thank you for inviting us into your home. Let's talk about why we're here. I'm super excited about what's coming up pretty soon. We have a very creative type of vibe going on, and it's going to be a hot show. So talk about it.
Well, I really appreciate you having us on the show, having me on the show.
At your house.
As you said, I recruited my friends to come on the show as well about this topic because we have an event coming up on November 10th. It's called Creativity in Person. And we themed it on our own terms because that's how we're going about it. We have a bunch of artists who have gathered together to just, I don't know, get together and share our art with other people. And so downstairs right now I have a lot of creative people practicing music and poetry and storytelling and all that kind of thing because they're getting ready for November 10th, the event, which is on Sunday night. We do have a few tickets left, not a whole lot, so you might want to hurry, but we do have a few tickets left and we'd love for you to join us. You as an audience do not have to do anything but sit back, relax, and enjoy the art. But if you want to, there's going to be 2 slots at the end of the set list where if anyone wants to walk up and share a poem or share a song, they're more than welcome. And at the end of the entire event, we're going to be doing like a collaborative piece where we're all doing a song, The artists who are currently preparing are all going to gather together and do a song, yes. And then they're going to, ask the audience to participate if they want to. So no pressure. You can just come and hang out and enjoy it. So for the last 3 months, we've been preparing. And getting it
This
ready.
is your brainchild. Why did you want to do this type of show? Well, first, before we get to that, we haven't even introduced our guest. How rude of us not to introduce our guest. We know better than that. What's wrong with it? You want to introduce the guest? Go ahead, Chantele. This is your house.
I was going to. Well, one of the reasons that this guy is on the show today is because from a group that I'm in with him, and he's known me since I was little, because we went to church together. He was my youth pastor for a while. Lots of fun things that he knows stories that he's just gonna keep saying.
Right.
Kind of like a priest.
Yes.
You confess.
Right.
But he is part of a group that my husband Hans is also in. We meet every Wednesday, and I gather together people that were my friends because I'm writing a book. It's taken forever, but I'm writing a book. And they would gather together on Wednesday with me, read parts of it, and then give me feedback about it, and then come back together and give me more feedback. So it's obviously not a children's book. It's taking a while because it's chapter by chapter. So the more we were into writing my book, I just felt like I wanted, the people I pulled together were very creative people too, and I wanted everybody to have a chance to come and share what they were working on. So now Dave is working on a book that his wife has been driving him crazy to write, and he's excited about it, I think. Yeah, he's been enjoying it, and so now he comes on Wednesday with like his creative piece, and then my other friends are also working on something. We have one of my favorite principals that I've worked for. He's in his 80s, and he actually wrote a vision for the next 7 years of his life to continue consulting. Wow. So, and with the pressure of ageism, because a lot of his friends are like, why would you want to keep doing that? It's his life work. It's what he loves to do. It's what makes him happy. And so he brought his vision for his future to our group, and we've been giving him feedback about it. Nice. So this is where the idea took place, is gathering together on Zoom, because we all live in different parts of the world. My principal friend lives in Colorado, and my other friend lives in Grand Rapids, and then we're in Monroe, and Dave's in Traverse City. So we're all over, but we've been doing that. And so as I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be cool if in our town we got together quarterly to share our art? Because it's what fuels my soul. It's what fuels a lot of other people's souls. And so, that mixed with the fact that we've been doing this television show for so long, and bringing in like the voices and thoughts of that is one of the reasons that I wanted to do this event. You and Stephanie, I asked to be, so they're going to be sharing their stories about how they collaborated on writing some children's books. You all are the people that I think inspired the group, because the two of you wrote the first children's book. So I'm like, if Stephanie and Eric can do it, I'm gonna give it a try. You guys put it out there that you were going to get it done. And Stephanie's incredible. You're incredible of getting things done. And so I was like, I got to stop talking about it and put it into action. So that's why I'm really glad to be here. That's why I'm really glad that Stephanie Kasperzak is one of our guests as well. So this is Dave Geyer, and this is Stephanie Kasperzak, and you guys are very inspiring to me.
Yeah. You know what I always learned is, my uncle always tells us, and we talk about this all the time, Stephanie, right?
Yeah.
We always talk about, it's already done. Just do the work. It's already done. God has already projected what's to be done. Just do the work. And that's what we live by. We just do the work. You know, we put it in our mind, we've cast it out there, we put it in existence, and we just go do the work.
We never thought we'd be authors.
Are you kidding me? That was never a thought of mine.
No.
We have a business out called Community Reimagined, right? And the first thing we did was to bring free Wi-Fi to the Orchard East community. That wasn't a thought. And it what? How many families during the pandemic?
700 families.
700 families use this free Wi-Fi. That was not even a thought,
Yeah.
right? And they still use it to this day. So we just kept going. The more thoughts I think of, I'm like, let's do it. She's like, I'm in, let's go. Let's talk about why you're part of this and how this thing came about for us.
Well, I love to write, and so it's always been something that I've been very passionate about. And so I wrote my first book during the pandemic and released it in 2021.
Invisible Walls.
Invisible Walls, yes. Yes, and then the next year you said, hey, let's write a book to raise money for Nasi Zabadai, which is the work we do in Tanzania, Africa. So we don't earn any money from these books at all. It all goes to good causes. And so we were able to take a ton of food.
Yeah, a ton of food
to a
and
special
oils.
needs school in Tanzania, Africa, from Lloyd Goes to Africa, and then Community Reimagined. It gets the proceeds for Why We Vote, which is our current book that we're out doing a little.
And we just got
tour on.
medical kits for
women. Right. Yes, pregnancy kits.
Pregnancy kits.
In
Yeah.
Tanzania.
In Tanzania.
Really, all of our writing helps us to do more good work. So the more we write, the more work we do.
The more creative we get.
Yeah, thank you.
The more creative we get, which brings us back to this whole thing about creativity.
Yeah.
We all have a creative spirit inside of us, all of us, in some way, fashion, or form, whatever that is. And to bring that out, and I thank you for doing this, Chantele. I mean, this is really cool and very unique, and it hasn't been done before. So I'm really intrigued about. And we got a little special gift. We're going to be doing that night.
Yes.
We got 5 minutes to do it, and she said, "I'm going to be able to pull it off 5 minutes." I think
we're going to give it our best shot.
I'm going to do our best shot, but this is really. I've always been a creative soul. I've always been ever since I was a child. I've been creating. I invented, Dave, believe it or not, and those out there, those that know me know, I invented over 200 board games. Over 200 board games. I created over 200 board games ever since I was a little child. And my friends, we didn't have money to go out and buy the Monopoly, so forth and so on. So I was the one to create the board games, and I had a friend named Mike Miano, God rest his soul, who's not here, who would draw my ideas out on those white boards,
Poster boards.
White poster boards. So I would create the game, get some dice, and then create the games to play on this white poster board. And ever since then, it's just been one thing that I've been intrigued about is creativity and creating things. So,
and the crazy part about that, I think, is that you were playing the game, making the game too.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the game also.
In itself.
Right? I mean, the book is a real thing, and it does real good work in the world.
Yeah.
But you're playing as you go, hey, I got this idea, why can't we do this?
Yeah.
It takes me into my adult life. I always say this, Mike was my soul partner. Like, he could envision whatever I thought. Wow. Like, whenever I thought of something, I know what you're thinking. And he would draw it, right? Stephanie is the same with me. I can think of something, and she can say, I know how to get there. And we meshed together like that. When Mike passed away, she fulfilled that empty space that I was missing in my creativity, right? And that's just how we work.
And that's part of what this whole event is about too, is those connections. Making those connections. Because if I hadn't met Aaron and we hadn't met LaTanya and we didn't know the publisher and Jackie McGee who brought us together in the very first place, you know, all of those connections, and then having these connections to kind of go to that next level, it's really important.
Yes, with having IC Gray. Connections. And JoJo and all these other people that came into our lives, now that's spread out to we're family now. You know what I mean? We're family, and those connections mean something.
Yeah. The opportunity to see your creativity to fruition is what has made my life so rich.
Oh.
So being an art teacher, I have been able to now, so what's so fun about our event is we have Catherine Brody, who she taught in Monroe Public Schools for 42 years. She was choir teacher, she came back and taught part-time, she did all kinds of things, but she's invested in the lives of so many students, and I'm getting there. Like, I'm 20 some odd years in and seeing that same kind of thing, but every day, even though teaching sometimes is exhausting, every day I'm sitting with students and I get this chance to hear their creative ideas, to see them, you know, growing and learning and wanting to express themselves. And that is, I guess I assumed for a while, up until the pandemic, I assumed that that's just what I do. But then when the pandemic hit, I started realizing that that's what actually makes me feel like it's worth living still.
Wow.
And so being stuck at home and not being able to, you know, see people face to face a lot, I turned to my creative pieces to be able to write, to paint, to do those types of things. And it kept me well. It kept me mentally well. It kept me feeling like life was enjoyable and fun still. So.
Wow. Hey Dave, have you tapped into your creativity, and if so, what does that mean to you, to be creative?
Yeah. Well, we're sitting here too, so it's so appropriate. But, you know, this one has sort of challenged me without even maybe knowing it, to expand what creativity means. Because I'm like, I'm not a creative. She's like, what do you mean you're not a creative? Because, you know, I'm thinking like visual arts, right? You know, a book or dance or performing, you know. And she's like, no, creativity is, you know, building something in the world that's good, like putting it together, this idea.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's been huge.
Yeah.
Because I still resist it, because, you know, I'm like, why am I in a creative cooperative when I'm not a creative? She's like, of course you're a creative. You just do it when you get on Zoom, and it just, you know, it's kind of this idea, just be you, David, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, which then kind of expands how I've understood it.
You've always been a creative idea. Like, that's the embodiment of you, is that there's this children's book that talks about how we carry an idea, almost like in our backpacks, like it's this egg-shaped kind of thing that we carry around in our pretend backpacks, and we're carrying it around all the time, and it grows and grows and grows and grows until it's almost like takes the life out of it. So listen, this cat. The cat is insisting he becomes a part of the
That's
conversation.
not a cat. That's a lion.
That is the biggest
Can
That's
you get
a
the
lion.
wide angle lens?
That's a lion.
That one.
You see, we're live on location to the Serengeti. We're in the Serengeti right now. We're talking about Africa, right? But no.
That cat would not survive the Serengeti. Not even for the morning, dude. Okay, not that thing.
So talk about the lineup a little bit.
Yeah,
We have
let's
a
talk
really
about
great
it.
lineup.
I was going to ask Dave to share the quote. I'm putting you on the spot, but we were gathered around the table today, and you were going to share the quote that you were talking about earlier tonight about.
Well, it's the quote. I don't know who said it, and I don't even know if I'm doing it right. It was just some words that came to mind. So I think it's somewhat right. I wish I could give, you know, credit to where it's due. It's if you want to know if a man is a good man, don't ask him what he believes. Rather, ask him, what do you love? Because that, right, you know, that really reveals who a person is. You know, and we're really in a Western world, right, where it's, do you believe this? Do you believe that? If you do, you're in. If you don't, you're, you know what I mean? And there's something to that. But we're so knowledge-based, I guess, as opposed to heart-based. To say, well, you know, hey, let's just change up the energy, change up the room. So what do you love? You know, and I do that in life coaching because, you know, they'll come in with something, right? There's a heaviness, there's a problem, they're stuck. And we're going to get to that. But it's fun to go, yeah, okay, thanks for sharing that. Now, so what do you love? And they'll be like, what? Like, whoever asked that? And I'm like, well, I am. You know, really, what makes you come alive? What did you know?
Well, what are the answers that you get usually? What are the answers that you get? I'm sure, like,
Oh my God.
kids, my pets.
Sometimes I just get, sometimes just blank stares. Sometimes I get tears because something will come to them like, whoa, I haven't done that. You know, my grandfather's fine. boom. And, you know, and of course, you know, they're a man and they're not comfortable. None of us are really that comfortable showing an emotion, but men seem to struggle more. And then it's like, it's all right, you know, and invite me into that. Where's the emotion coming from? And then the story comes. You know, there's something that happened in that season of their life. And I guess that's where I'm creative, because I'm like curious, like, whoa, there's something behind that. You know, I asked you, Stephanie, I'm like, wait a minute, none of you guys have done a book, but I know there's a story behind it. You're like,
absolutely.
oh my gosh, are you kidding? There's a story.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. And it's because you guys love stuff. Like, there's got to be moments in your journey that you just say, I love that.
I love humanity.
Yeah.
I love people. And I've always loved people, whether they're good, bad, or indifference, because in order to be bad, you had to get there from some place of pain, something happened. Because as a kid coming out and you play in a playground, you're not automatically angry, right? So during that growth spurt, or during that growth in your life, there's something that happened. There was a turn in your life that happened that changed you to who you are today, to make you feel a certain way, that hatred or that anger, that anxiety or that loss. So I say kids with childhood trauma become adults with those same childhood traumas, because they never got help for that, whatever that term was, right? So I'm always intrigued by individuals in that humanity in them, right? Because they wasn't always that individual that you see today, right? And hopefully with counseling, hopefully by talking about it, hopefully having the courage to be creative. So you gotta have courage in order to change who you are. Because you can just stay one way and that'll be it. That goes for the fixed mindset, right? You can have a growth mindset. I'm starting to tap into the superior mindset, where you're starting to understand how other people think. And that doesn't affect me in how I live my life. Because a lot of people can affect your life by saying certain words to you. And now your day is messed up based on what somebody else says. Right? So if you understand where's that coming from, it doesn't affect you. And I talk about that a lot, that whatever people say about me, they can hate on me, they can talk about me, they can say whatever they want. It doesn't affect me because I know who I am. I understand who I am. I know my value. Mentally, I understand that. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to mess with my mentality so I can be off kilter, so you can control what's up here. You'll never get a chance to do that to me. And that's how I transfer from a growth mindset to a superior mindset, because I understand what the other person is thinking. That's why I study humanity and people. And that's where it's deep.
That's the power of creativity, though, I think.
Yes.
Is that if you're going to be creative, you have to have a growth mindset. A fixed mindset is going to keep you stuck. That will allow you to have high craftsmanship, but it won't allow you to grow that idea into something that has no boundaries, you know. So one of the reasons I wanted to have Dave on the show too today is that he's in writing his book, he wrote this chapter about the power of community and having these intermittent or intermediate, I don't think that's the word you used, but it was like, today we have isolation, and then we have these experiences that are like full immersion into having a community with other people, but we don't necessarily have the in-between things. So he talks about how, like, when we were kids, we had like the rod and gun club. You could go and learn how to shoot a gun, or you could go and play a sport, and the sports are still here, but it's not what every kid does. And so everything is behind screens, and you're not having these experiences where we're like gathering and eating food and having community and sitting around at a table and having conversations. And so I have, kids who are in their 20s and are experiencing a lot of isolation because they don't have that in-between thing where they're getting together and everybody's putting their phones down and they're just having conversation and they're sharing each other's creativity. And so there's a part of me that wanted to do this because I'm hoping to inspire a younger generation that sees us older generations gathering together still to share our art and not being afraid to do that. And my husband he's a singer-songwriter type musician. And then
great singer, by the way. I just heard one of his songs just a few
Yeah.
minutes ago. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so,
Yeah.
but he's singing along with Kelly Johnson, who loves to sing because he loves to make people laugh, and so his songs are about music that's humorous. He doesn't like to be serious. And then we have John Gray, who's a storyteller, who's also been an actor and also played in bands and sang in bands, and he's going to be there. And then Catherine's very formal, and so she's going to be singing some pieces that are very formal, which is hilarious because Hans's daughter Drew would crack up laughing, knowing
Who was our camera person today?
Yes.
Shout out to Drew. Thank you, Drew. We appreciate it.
he had to learn some songs. Like Hans plays by ear, so
Wow.
he listens to a song and then he plays what he hears, but he doesn't read music. So then Catherine needed an accompaniment for her songs, and he had to learn 2 songs, and he does not like musicals at all, and one of them's from a musical. So he's been practicing this song that's from a musical that really has stretched him. But we were talking about today, why he's willing to do that is because he wants to be a part of community. He's, and he moved to my town when we got married, and so finding new relationships isn't easy when we don't do things like the intermediate type of gatherings.
Well, in the context, and maybe this applies to what you're doing, you were talking about love, and love can't operate. Well, there's no chance for love unless there's trust. Like, you can't love someone you just don't trust. Okay, it's not a lack of love, it's just I can't because I don't trust you.
That's a fact.
And trust comes from safety, shared experiences, what we would call, empathy, right? I see you, I feel what you're feeling, right? This idea, right? We have these mirror neurons in our body that say, in a sense, I feel what you feel. It's as if I'm you. Okay. And so it's baby steps to love is where we were going. And so what are these middle level organizations or experiences that gets a person who's pretty isolated to go, okay, I can't go that far, but I can go this far. I can go to Chantele's house. Literally. And hey, that was really fun. They may not be thinking it consciously, but their soul's like, yeah, and it was safe. And there was goodness there. Right? And they loved on me and they fed me and okay, that person's another step toward to wholeness. To love. Because it's a baby step. And that's how we grow. My message is I wanted to try to share to the church, if you guys could figure out how to practice love instead of always teaching it. You all sit down and listen to me and I'll give you another lesson. Now there's a place for lessons, but can we do the stuff? And you guys are doing the stuff. And I just think good things are going to come from. I can't even be there, just so you know. I'm not going to be at the event. But the fact that you would invite me in, And the other thing you did for me is you said, I get you enough, David, that I can help you with the book. And I'm like, what? She goes, you don't have to do what you don't have to do. That's not your gift. Would you let me help you? And then the offer was, I'll come up. We will literally sit in a room and we'll do this together.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Okay.
We do the same thing.
So then there's the thing that you created.
Yes.
I'm trying to emphasize this. That's a good thing to help people. But there was the collaboration and the love and the help and the support and the deeply human stuff that you got to experience, and you wouldn't have if you hadn't collaborated for the thing.
Absolutely. I talk about my favorite sayings. It's the 3 T's. In any partnership or relationship, you got to have these 3 elements. You said it. Trust is the first T. You got to have trust. Without trust, no partnership, no relationship can work at all. Without trust. That's the first step. The second T was transparency. You got to be transparent. You got to be open. You got to be honest. You got to really bare your spirit and soul. And whatever that space is. Whatever that space is. The last one is teamwork. We got to work together in order to achieve our goal. Together. Trust, transparency, and teamwork. It doesn't cost anything.
That's what we're doing.
Connect those dots.
Yeah.
When you have those dots, that makes a great partnership. We have trust. We have transparency. If I don't like an idea or she doesn't feel something, let's talk about it. Ain't no use to hanging on to that or hiding it somewhere and say, I really don't like this, but I'm just going to go with it. I'm not even going to say anything. See, that bubbles up. And then it can turn into something else. Be transparent. Let's talk about it. You not feeling that? Okay. Now let's work together because we got a goal we want to reach. Together, teamwork. We got to work together, regardless of what the outside noise is going to say about us. Let's keep our eyes on the prize. We see the bigger picture. I always say that the future cannot be seen on a movie screen, right? It just can't be seen. The big picture can't be seen on a movie screen, right? Your eyes can't see the vision, right? It's beyond that, right? In our collective, we understand each other collectively. which create this whole bubble of trust, transparency in this teamwork. You feel me? You agree?
Yes.
How's that? Since we started partnering up and we started doing these things, how has that changing you, creativity wise, and what we do?
Oh,
We got about 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Oh, I think that I love the creative process that we have in putting words together. I mean, writing books is putting words together, putting thoughts and ideas together, and we sit down and. Our Lloyd Goes to Africa a lot. We wrote at the garden. Outdoors at the IHM. Behind by the community garden, and so that was just a really creative space. And we just sat and talked about the words and wove the story how we really wanted to. And there were times when we didn't agree on words, we didn't agree on sentiments of how the book was going, and we just kind of talked through it.
So I think
it helps us.
Why?
Absolutely, yeah.
The why.
Yeah. So it always makes our creative process better as we do more projects.
Absolutely.
Really good.
Yeah. I had one of the hopes I have out of just having an event like this, and who knows, I'm hoping we can have another one in the winter time, is that you don't have the motive of making money. You have the motive of sharing your soul. And I think there's a big difference because it would be great. I would love to make some money at some point, but I love just sharing my soul, like making a contribution to
bringing people together.
Yeah, just that. Yeah.
When we started Community Reimagine, we wasn't making any money at all. Really to this day, right? Because all the stuff we created went back into the community or another community. So that was never the idea for us. You know, if you do things the right way, your blessings will come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether you know it, it's going to come. It's going to happen. That's just the way I don't do it for the money. I do it because I do it for the love. I just do it for the love of the people and humanity. And here's another thing I always think. I know it's going off topic, but when people talk about this is my country, these are my kids, these are my so-and-so, they're not yours. They're not yours. They never was yours. This is God's plan. The kids that God allowed you to have was a gift from Him. Eventually, He's going to want them back. He's going to want them back, right? It's up to you to raise them and do the best you can. But once they go out on their own, they're on their own. They don't belong to you. They were always His, right? So I just think I see the world in a different light than a lot of people. Creativity, and that's why I was so honored to be a part of this. You just ask me and I'm there if I can be there, right? Yeah. And I'm just so happy that you're putting this together. Yeah. Again, we got about 3 minutes, Chantele. Can you tell people why?
A little bit that I invited Bronco.
Which
is kind of out of his norm, but he's been talking about it so much. I have people coming up to me and saying, "Yeah, I heard from Bronco you're having some event where he's going to be reading poetry." And I love that he's doing it because he's like known for boxing and.
He's deeper than you think he knows. We spend a lot of time with him, so he's really deep. I love you, B.
Yeah. So he's going to be there reading some poetry. We're going to have, butcher paper on the tables where you guys can do like a collaboration at your table if you want to and write a poem together. There's going to be colored pencils. You can draw while you're sitting there. Have great conversation. There's food. Yes.
We're going to have Lloyd Goes to Africa and Why We Vote books there too if you want that.
Absolutely. And I don't think I forgot anyone. I think I talked about almost everybody. But you will, if you, just a heads up, if you want to come and read a poem, just bring it with you. And if you want to share a song, we'll just put Hans on the spot. You'll have to let him listen to it and tell you if there's no way he can't play, but he might be able to play piano behind it. I don't know. Or we could do karaoke version. We can have a sound system, that's for sure.
I want to give a huge shout out to my sister Chantele for putting this on. I mean, this is something for the community. Come on out and support this creative space. Be a part of it. Again, it's November
10th.
The 10th.
Which is this Sunday.
How do they get to it?
So if you go on Facebook, you can go to my page, Chantele Steffens, and you'll see a link to buy tickets. We'll share it as a link with the show.
How much are tickets?
For $25. So that helps us cover the cost of the venue, and then there is coal-fired pizza that's going to be available, and other things, some drinks and stuff.
Other
If you
stuff.
want to, you can bring your own alcohol to the venue, which is really cool. We're not selling any, but you can bring your own.
Oh,
if
what?
you want
I didn't know
to.
that.
You can.
Oh, we got to bring some wine and stuff.
Yeah,
we
you
gotta get
can.
you-
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
We're
what's
gonna
up.
have mocktails. We're gonna have some desserts and things like that that are gonna be there. But that's what your $25 covers: is the entertainment, the venue, and the food.
But most of all, right now we're living in a society where we're divided, and let's just keep it real. This is the opportunity to fellowship, come back together, get creative.
Yeah. No politics.
Yeah, we're just gonna have a good time. Let's just
Let's
just
no
have
politics.
After November 5th.
yeah. We're
The
just
world
gonna,
will still
Yes.
be here.
Yeah.
let's just have a good time. Let's get
Yeah.
back to fellowship. Let's get back to creativity.
Yeah.
Let's get back to having fun, loving on each other, singing,
Yeah.
doing poems,
Yeah.
and having a good time.
Absolutely.
If I have one thought, since I can't be there,
Yeah.
it's been in my head since we were talking. If there's somebody that's watching this, you maybe even stumbled upon it, I don't know how this is viewed, it's on Facebook maybe, and you're like, I'm one of those people that are isolated, like I haven't been out for a bit. It would really do something good just to literally get out, go do something different that I haven't done before.
Yep.
I love that. Wouldn't that be beautiful if you came? Okay? And I know it's a risk. Invite your, introduce yourself to some people when you're here.
Yeah.
My offer is, if there's somebody here that's listening and you want to come and you know it'd be good for your soul and you can't afford it, let Chantele know, I'll buy your ticket, because I can't be there and you can be there for me.
I love
That's my
that.
guy.
And don't let the money get in the way. Okay?
Love that.
That's a great
let
idea.
us know. Yeah, that's
a great
we
idea.
actually, how we have the venue set up that night is there's 7 tables of 8, and every person who's performing is the host of a table. So we've got about like 2 to 3 seats left at every table, and you're going to feel welcome at that table. So that's the goal of the person who's hosting the table, is to make sure that everybody feels welcome and a part. So do not be afraid. You will not be by yourself. You will not be a wallflower. We will make you feel comfortable.
So that means there's only about 15 tickets left. So I'm doing the math in my head.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
jump on it. Let's
Jump on
do
it right away.
guys.
Again, Chantele, what time?
November 10th.
Number 2?
Doors open at 5 o'clock. We
5
start
o'clock?
at 5:30.
Where?
At Venmod, which is a venue downtown Monroe. You'll have to Google it. I don't
Google
know the
it.
address.
Venmod?
Venmod.
Venmod venue.
Venmod.
Venmod venue.
All right.
Yes.
Fantastic. Again, we want to thank you all for tuning in and coming into the living room of conversation. This is what we do. We have conversations. This is never an interview. And we're actually in my sister's house. So thank you for
Yes.
inviting me into your home.
Thanks for being here. Awesome.
And we're going to leave you guys with love and respect.
And unity to inspire change.
In order to see clearly,
You have to see gray.
we see gray. Do you?
Yeah.
Peace. One love.